so happy it's February, and to get into the February mood, I decided that I'm going to be reading romance books for this whole week. I feel like February can sometimes be depressing just because it's still so cold, like colder than January most of the time. School gets so busy. It can just be kind of hard to romanticize and enjoy February, even though I really like that month. Like, I like Valentine's Day, Galentine's, I love. So just to get into the mood and really romanticize February, we're going to be reading some really good romance books. I have a few options to choose from. One that I want to get through this week for sure is yours truly. This has been on my TBR for so long. Everyone who I trust their opinion on has loved this book, so I'm really excited to read this. I'm fully expecting to love it. Next up, I have When in Rome. I've seen a lot about this author, and I think this is just the cutest cover ever. Also, when I was at the bookstore, I saw one of her newest books. I read the synopsis and I was like, I want to read this so badly. And I didn't realize it was the same author. So I want to get through this one so I can go and read the new book that came out because it sounds so interesting. Just to get into the classics, I also have Pride and Prejudice. I've seen the movie and I love it so much. Like, it is truly one of my favorites. And I haven't read the book, which is a little bit ridiculous. So I'm gonna read this. I also have it as an audiobook. So I'm kind of thinking I'll be switching between physical and audiobook, kind of like a hybrid read. Let's not bring work terms into here. This is a safe space. I want to read this and then rewatch the movie because it is one of the best movies out there. And of course I need to watch it in February for the month of love. I'm going to start with this one because I'm most excited for it and it matches my shirt. So obviously I need to read it. Let's get reading. Sensing this is going to be a 5-star read because I love it so much. If you hate insta love, you will love this book. It is the opposite of insta love. It's very slow burn, but not in a boring way. I love them so much. This is my second book by Abby Jimenez and she has not failed. She's killing it again. I think I have to read every book by her now because I just have had such amazing experiences with anything she's ever written. I'm on page 171, so I'm almost halfway through. I personally just love romance books that have a separate plot or go deeper into characters' lives outside of the romance plot. Like, there needs to be something else going on in their lives, okay? She does that wonderfully. The main guy character has general anxiety and it's pretty severe, but I love how she's representing it, and I just love how the characters fit together. Their strengths and weaknesses, like, they just fit so well together and get along. They're genuinely developing a friendship before anything begins. There's also letters in here. They write each other letters and I think it's the cutest thing. It just reminds me of Divine Rivals just because of the letters. It's also making me think of The 7-Year Slip and Funny Story just because those are some of my favorite romance books and I can tell this is going to be one of my favorites. There's also a lot of pop culture references like Wicked Witch of the East. I think Pride and Prejudice was mentioned. A lot more. I just don't remember them off the top of my head. I'm loving this so much. I do not want to stop reading this. Hey guys, it's a little bit later now. I just got back from a volunteering shift. I don't know if I mentioned what I'm volunteering for, but I'm currently training to be a crisis line responder. So I'm almost done. We just have one more week left after this week. It's getting late, so I'm gonna get ready for bed. We're gonna wind down, and to do that, you already know I will be reading yours truly. Like, I love this book so much. It's kind of dangerous to start it this late though because I may stay up reading it. And I have a meeting tomorrow with my supervisor. I do want to get enough sleep, so this is quite the gamble. We will try not to stay up too late. Anyways, let's go wind down and get reading. I'm currently watching the one on Netflix.
2 years. Happily married, for the most part.
It's based off of a thriller book that I read last week in a readathon that I did with my friend. That video is uploaded, by the way. Basically, the storyline is live in a world where there's a DNA test you can take to figure out your match. So like the person who you're supposed to be with, there's a test to see if you should be with them. There's a lot of divorces. Some people really hate it, some people really love it, and the story follows a lot of different characters as they navigate getting their results from this DNA match website. It's like a romantic thriller. I just started the first episode. I don't know how I feel about it yet because they changed a lot of things from the book, like characters worth of changes. I'll see how I like it, but I don't really love when book to movie adaptations make too many changes. They tend to ruin it, but maybe this one worked. I don't know. We'll see. They're so sticky and slimy, but it feels nice. Okay, let's get reading. Guys, he has anxiety, right? And he literally says, and I'm starting to realize it was hard to feel anxious around her in general. Like, she is the cure. Be with her. I have some updates. I'm a little over halfway through. I got to page 221 and I literally just want to keep reading, but I'm getting so tired, like my eyes are shutting and I want to keep reading. Like, why is a romance book keeping me up? It's not even a fantasy or a thriller where you need to know the next part, but the romance is just so good. It hits. There's so many quotes in here. I already know this is going to be a 5-star read, so I'm really glad I have a physical copy of it and I didn't just read it on my Kindle because I want to go back and reread it and annotate it. There's so many good quotes in here. So many good quotes on here. Literally every 10 pages I need to like pause and reflect. To tell you a little bit more about what this book is about, Brianna and Jacob are both doctors, and Jacob moves to Brianna's hospital because he used to work at a different place. They end up writing letters to each other. It's very cute. It's as wholesome as it sounds. And then a little bit about their personal lives. Jacob just got out of a relationship. He also has anxiety. As for Brianna, Brianna? How do you guys say that name? Anyways, Brianna is getting divorced and her brother has kidney failure. She's been dealing and struggling with that. They're both just like dealing with a lot of things with their lives, trying to move on, be happy again. I don't know, live their life. They just find each other at such a good time. They're so good for each other. This is one of the sweetest stories I've ever read. If you guys saw my 24-hour reading challenge that I did a couple weeks ago, I read The 7-Year Slip and I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars. Dare I say this is better? I don't know. But if you like The 7-Year Slip, you will adore this. You might even like it more. Please read it. I'm really happy I picked this up for February. I think it's the perfect Valentine's themed read just because of the color and the genre, obviously romance, and just the story. Anyways, I want to keep reading. I want to finish this book, but I still have quite a bit of it left. I need to go to bed, unfortunately. I'm super happy with this read, as you can tell. I've decided we're going to take a little break from reading to make a Valentine's themed sweet treat. I saw someone on TikTok make these really cute pink blondies. They put Valentine's themed M&Ms in there and I tried so hard to find them. I went to 3 different stores and I could not find them. And then I looked online and they are sold on Amazon for $50. I'm not paying $50 for M&Ms. So then I decided I'll make chocolate covered strawberries, but I need pink chocolate for that because I want to make them Valentine's/February themed. I could not find pink chocolate. Again, those 3 different stores I went to did not have it. And then I realized something. There's this thing called food dye, and if you put a little bit of red in white chocolate, it'll make pink. Tell me why that took me 3 stores to remember about. It's kind of embarrassing, but anyways, let me show you a little haul. I got 2 white chocolates, just of the most basic brand. I also got 1 pack of milk chocolate because I want to drizzle it on top. Of course, I got some strawberries. So while we do this, I'm going to watch a rom-com because obviously I feel like you have to do that in February. strawberries, and here's the finished product. I'm excited to eat these. This one is looking a little bit rough, but it's fine. It's the next day and I'm about to go to the gym. While I drive there, and maybe during my workout as well, I'm going to be listening to Pride and Prejudice. I downloaded it on Audible for free. I think some classics are just free on there. I'm currently on chapter 6. Also, when I was at Dollar Store yesterday, I found this decor. It's not looking too good right now. I want to hang these hearts up just to get into the February/Valentine's mood. I'm thinking of hanging them up there, but I don't know how I can hang these, so we will see when I get back from the gym. Okay, let's go now. I just finished Yours Truly, and yes, it is a 5 stars. There was one part at the end, I want to say somewhere like right here, where I didn't love something for the first time. Like, there was just one part in the book that I didn't like. Everything else I loved, but it was almost like a third act breakup. Like, it wasn't quite, but it was getting close, and I just hate those. I think they're so unnecessary. I get you need conflict to keep a book moving, but I feel like a good example of not having a third act breakup is Out on a Limb, which is such a good book. If you haven't read it, go get it right now. But yeah, even though it was annoying, like, it made sense why it happened based off the characters' past experiences, based off their life. So if you're looking for a cute rom-com for Valentine's, please pick this up. It is so good and sweet. One of my favorite romance books of all time. Some things you can expect is fake dating. There's gonna be some miscommunication, but in a cute way, I guess you can say. Co-workers, because they're both doctors at the same hospital. The hero, like I said, has anxiety disorder, but he is such a cinnamon bun. He's the sweetest MC ever. Both of them are recovering from a recent breakup. They exchange letters, like physical notes. There's dual POV, which I love. Basically, this is just such a good romance book that has romance, but it also has life events and like that fiction aspect. It's very slow burn, but I loved that. Like, I really liked the angst and the build-up and the friendship building before. Anyways, I'm about to go to get high tea with my friend. Also, I did get through Pride and Prejudice yesterday when I went to the gym. I'm 3.5 hours into it, and I have 8.5 hours left, so we are progressing through. I thought it would be harder to read it since it's a classic, but it's literally just a romance with an accent in the olden days. It's a bit later, I just got home. I'm going to leave again in 15 minutes for some fun plans, but I decided before I leave I want to at least start our next romance book for the week, and I've decided on When in Rome. I am super excited to read this because I've heard such good things about this author, like this whole series actually. I think the 3rd book just came out recently, and it's so short, so I don't think it should take me too long to get through. I think like many people, when I saw this title and book, I thought this was going to be in Europe, so I was debating on saying it for the summer, but then I read the back and it's in Rome, Kentucky. So I think we're okay there. This does not need to be saved for the summer. It's a small town romance, and from my understanding, the girl is some sort of celebrity. The guy is the one who like bakes because he's looking after his grandmother's bakery shop. I'm getting vibes of enemies to lovers because he doesn't have time or patience for celebrity problems, but then he does let her stay in his guest room. So I guess they also live together even though they don't know each other. I'm sensing a lot of tropes hidden in here, but I think it's gonna be fun. We're gonna read a little bit and I will update you more as we go. So I have some updates on When in Rome. I'm currently on page 94 and it's only 300 pages long, so I'm already 1/3 way into it. I feel like I haven't read a book that's this short in a while. I feel like most books nowadays are 400 pages and up, or maybe that's just the ones that I'm reading, but I feel like when I was younger it was common for books to be 300 to 350 pages, and now they've just gotten so much longer. I don't know if that's like a publishing difference, or I just stopped reading YA. Side note, how cute is this mug? I feel like it's perfect for Valentine's Day. Honestly, I want to be using it for the rest of February, so I've gotten cozy. I'm planning to read for the rest of the night, but I wanted to tell you some of my thoughts for this book so far. So just to explain a little bit more about what it's about, the guy recently has gotten out of a breakup, and it devastated him. We don't know what happened, but it clearly had a huge effect on him. So he's being a really big grump, even though he's super respectful, he's super kind. He's kind of being not rude to the main character, but standoffish. She also has her own stuff going on with like an identity crisis, burnout with her career, that kind of stuff. I do think they're cute, and I do like both the characters and them together already, but I feel like I just don't have enough of them to really care about them that much quite yet. But to be fair, we're only 100 pages in. I just don't know how attached I'm gonna get to these characters since the book itself is pretty short, but it's just supposed to be a fun, silly, little fluffy romance book, so I just need to accept it for what it is. Like I said earlier, this is a small town romance. Literally, just because of that and the fact that the guy is grumpy, he's reminding me of Luke from Gilmore Girls. I also think it's cute that he works at a pie shop and it's called the Pie Shop, which makes perfect sense for a small town. I really like that as a setting. So again, I'm not that far into it, but it's already having some deeper elements than I thought it would, because yes, it's definitely fluffy more than anything, but I do like that the characters have their own issues and like that's all being explored. I am enjoying it so far. We are going to get reading and just wind down for the rest of the night. Okay, one last thing I wanted to say is that I thought the main character Amelia might be annoying because she's a celebrity, and so, you know, usually they're pretty self-centered, but she's not, and I'm enjoying her character more than I thought I might. So I like that she's not an annoying celebrity. I don't think I would want to read this if she was annoying. Not to say that I don't like books where characters are unlikable, because sometimes it works and sometimes that's the point, but for this specifically, like this romance, do not give me an unlikable character for a fluffy romance, and I'm glad that she didn't. I just finished When in Rome, and this was such a cute romance book. It was so good for just turning my brain off. I feel like when I was giving my thoughts for this 1/3 into the book, I was being a little bit critical of it just because I had just read a 5-star read, so obviously anything after that wouldn't have quite reached that level that I wanted, but this was so cute and fun and fluffy, and that's what it was supposed to be. It wasn't quite insta love, but at the beginning I kind of felt like they both really liked each other even though they barely knew each other. So at first I thought things were moving a little bit too fast for my liking, but I ended up really liking the pace of this, and it really slowed down after a bit, which I like because it really lets the characters build a relationship. It just reminds me of Stars Hollow because of all the side characters in the small town. The main character, Noah, is definitely grumpy, but he's not as grumpy as Luke is. Like, he has a soft side to him, which you do get to see. It was just so wholesome, and it was really nice to see Amelia get her spark back. Overall, this is such a good read for February, and just in general if you want a good romance book. I ended up rating it 4 stars. Originally I was thinking 3.75 just because I feel like cozy, fluffy romance books can only get such a high rating from me no matter how well done they are, because they sometimes lack depth, but this honestly had that still, so yeah. 4 stars for me. I also ended up finishing Pride and Prejudice. I know I didn't talk about this book very much. I feel like it's a classic. Everyone knows what happens. Most of us have seen the movie. I feel like the book to movie adaptation is done really well, and I'm excited to go rewatch it with like fresh eyes from the story, see what was missed, see how they changed a few things, but I feel like from my memory it was pretty accurate to the book. I enjoyed it. I want to read more books by Jane Austen, and I feel like she's a good author for starting with to really get into classics. I don't know how you guys feel about reading more than one book at once, but I was reading both of these at the same time, and usually I will only do that if it's like different formats. So I read this physically and then I mostly listen to this on audiobook, and so that kind of separates it for me, or I'll do it if the genres are really different. But I don't know, how do you guys feel about reading more than one book at a time? Because I used to hate it. Like, it was a big no-no for me, absolutely would not. And then this year I really got into audiobooks, and so I've really liked having something I can listen to in audio and then having something separate that I'm reading physically. To wrap that up, I ended up reading 3 romance books this week, and I recommend all of them. They all have something fun to offer. My favorite was Yours Truly. I rated this 5 stars. I added it up and I ended up reading 1,136 pages this week with those 3 books. It did not feel like I read that much just because romance books feel a lot faster to me. I think those are some of the best romance books out there. I recommend all of these. That's it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys next week.